This is the UTV 44 Game of the Week Preview Show, brought to you by Metro PCS.
It is week 3 of the high school football season here on UTV 44. Jim Cox and Dan Brennan as we get ready for a matchup that, boy, the rivalry games just keep rolling right after another. We started out with Blunt Biger, and of course we have Daphne Spanish Fort last week, and then this one that's been around a little longer than the Spanish Fort Daphne rivalry game that we had last week.
Thank heavens we finally found a game that's been around a little longer than me. So I'm glad to be part of again the McGill-Toolen and Murphy rivalry. Boy, a lot of history here, but a lot of great players on the field tonight.
Oh yeah, it's just been it's a great rivalry. It's the student body section, the way they get into the game, of course, the painting of the cannon and such. I heard someone call into Sports Talk Radio. This is a caller, and this is just such wrong information. He said last year when the kids were trying to paint the cannon, Mobile police officers were there with mace to stop them. I said, no, that's really not how it works. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works, but there was some controversy last year.
But usually the police, they know what's going to go on. The police are making sure everybody's safe. They let it get done and it happens. But like this guy made it sound like, that's just not.
Obviously, I was not there, but I think it was met with a little more resistance than in the past.
I don't think our great police officers were there macing students.
You certainly hope not.
And that's not the case with our great men in blue. Hey, let's go back to the game last week. What a defense, so Coach King said their 3-0 win over Davidson was like a 2002 defensive struggle. Okay, so like what year are we going to go back to with the defensive struggle? 8-7 last week with Spanish Fort winning the game on 2 field goals, including a 50-yarder and a safety sandwich in between them.
I guess we've got to go back to General Neyland at Tennessee in the 40s or something like that. But that game, one thing about that game, not only was it not high scoring, teams were struggling to move the ball and get first downs, but still, to me, there was an entertainment level to that game because of the intensity and because of the defenses playing so well. And so you saw great execution. It just wasn't necessarily on offense.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's so much of the, so you look at McGill, they took on Spanish Fort. Spanish Fort scored 20 points in that game. I know they had one was a special team touchdown. So it's not like Spanish Fort's offense is really inept or anything. I think that Daphne defense is going to be just a huge force in 6A Region 1 all season long.
They've got to score some points. So they barely beat Davidson with just a 3-0 win. It was their offense that cost them the game, plus the player that was playing so well getting tossed out of the game really was the turning point of the game. But the point is, Daphne's defense may be so good, they've just got to really focus on the offensive side of the ball, and maybe they can have a really special season.
And you think some of those things are correctable because had some penalties, some really, not just penalties, but those really costly timed penalties that hurt Daphne. But I tell Kenny King this summer, you bump into him and say, hey, Coach, after 2 weeks, you hadn't given up a touchdown. What do you think your record is? He's going to be feeling pretty good. He's 2-2 as opposed to 1-1.
And as a defensive guy, Kenny King be real happy about that one way or the other. But I think what we're going to see probably is Daphne will probably begin to utilize their skilled people, more inventive ways, maybe more often getting the ball.
Christian Williams, get him on that side of the football, right?
Exactly, because you're having so much trouble. Very talented cornerback who is spot duty on offense. You may see him, and I was a little surprised we didn't see more of him on offense in the second half of that game. But it was a great one.
Yeah, and those two teams are going to be right there at the very end of that region setup. Those two teams are going to be right there. And Coach Blackman told us before the game. He said, if we sneak one out here, and he was like, and we got a chance to sneak one out here. He said, we got a chance to go on a big roll, and come October, November, watch out for the Toros.
Yeah, Blackman thinks his team has got a chance at the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. He's just that sort of guy.
Murphy McGill tonight here on UTV 44. We'll get you ready for the Murphy side of the equation coming up right after this. We're at Metro PCS. If you're a Murphy Panther fan, your store is at 1270 Spring Hill Avenue or at 2206 Airport Boulevard here in Mobile. Murphy McGill week here on UTV 44. We've done this game, boy, so I can't, how many years in a row have we done this game? A lot of them.
You almost have to. It's Murphy McGill, and it means so much to everybody in this city. Somebody's got to tie to one of these schools one way or the other.
Muskegon Martin's the new head coach of the Murphy Panthers with us here. Been an assistant coach for the past 3 years with the Panthers, and Maurice Robinson, who we saw exciting early game last season on UTV 44, quarterback for the Murphy Panthers. Coach, you know, our first time a chance to talk with you, is it kind of funny how it's like if you're a football guy, no matter what you take a different path, maybe out of college, go to try to do something else in your career, it's like if you're a football guy, you end up back in football, don't you?
That's what happened. My story was I was working in New Orleans, actually, working at Wells Fargo Financial, and really didn't like it, and played football a large portion of my life, and wanted to get in coaching. Never coached before. The story is I called Coach Will Muschamp. He was my defense coordinator at LSU. He put me in contact with Coach Guth from St. Paul's. Interviewed down here, and I'm from Mossville, Mississippi, which is 30 minutes away. Came down here and started coaching in 03. Been down here in Mobile ever since. Got out of coaching for a little bit, but I was still working around the kids, but wanted to get back into coaching. That's when Coach Colley gave me a call, and here I am. 4 years later, I'm here in Murphy. So.
Head coach of one of the most prestigious programs in the state of Alabama, head coach of the Murphy Panthers. And so Murphy McGill, I mean, so been an assistant coach the last 3 years. You kind of know what this week's all about over there on the campus, right?
Yes, sir. It's gonna be you know, the Marines were there this morning, you know, for the annual challenge and whatnot, and the Murphy McGill. The rivalry week is going to be. I mean, it's been like that for the last 3 years. I mean, I've enjoyed it, and I mean, just you know, you're talking about 40, 50 years of a football game is something that you live for. You know, back in Mississippi, Mossville and Pascagoula was that game. You know, we've been playing against each other for a while, but the Murphy McGill game is, I know, it's going to be an exciting one.
All right, Maurice, electrifying quarterback for the Murphy Panthers, and as a senior, your last chance, barring playoffs, and oh, how we would love a Murphy McGill playoff game. But what's your week been like? What have you been thinking about getting ready for this matchup with your arch rival?
I've just been ready to finally play them after these couple of years. I've really just been focusing, going over the game plan, and getting my boys ready.
Now, after 2 weeks of playing together, do you feel like you're getting on the same page with some of your wideouts and some of the talent around you? And also talk about your offensive line and how, kind of your job to lead them.
Yeah, I'm getting more on the same page with all my receivers, even the ones that are 2s and 3s that rep in. And with the O-line, they're young, but they're getting better, and we got that bond where I tell them to block for me, they're going to do it. And even when I don't tell them, they're still there for me.
Yeah, you counted for 4 touchdowns last week, so the blocking was pretty good last week.
It was.
It was. Dynamic playmakers. I mean, they are. They're really, really good friends of coach. They really coaches love having those playmakers on the field, don't you?
You know what? I mean, just to tag on what Maurice is talking about. I mean, of course, it's always a plus to have playmakers on your side. But he stressed. You talked about the offensive line, and somebody asked me earlier. What do you think the most important part of the team is right now? And I was like, right now our skill guys are probably they're really good. But if I had to make a decision, I mean, I want my offensive line to be that, because again, the offensive line, they account for everything. I mean, if they don't block, then my quarterback doesn't have time to throw the ball. He doesn't have time to find those receivers that we're talking about. Nor do we have time to find for the running backs to find a hole. So again, we want the offensive line to gel. I mean, they're young, and they make Maurice look good. They make all of us look good. So, kudos to the offensive line coach, Scott Atkins, and the offensive line, because, again, from week 1 to week 2, I mean, they have grown in leaps and bounds of how they came out and played the game. So,
I know something is very important to you as I talk to. This is not groundbreaking news in the world of coaching, but your penalties went down from week 1 to week 2. Mm-hmm. And I think you were as proud of that as anything that your team did.
You know what? Penalties account for, they are momentum changers. And again, if you have 1 or 2 penalties, I mean, you don't, the likelihood of the pendulum swinging, it goes down. So I think for us, for only having 2 penalties last week, that was a big thing for us. I mean, the week before, our first game against Baker, I think we had 7 or 8 penalties. And it seemed like they came at times when we didn't need them to come. We had a long play, we brought it back, hold it. If we had another long play, then, and all of a sudden the drives that started, say on our, on their 20, wind up on the 40 because we lost yardage. So again, for us to go out there, last Friday and play a game, we only had 2 penalties. That's a big plus for us.
Yeah, and that kind of starts at practice, doesn't it? I'm guessing he's drilling that down into everyone on the field, making sure you're disciplined, doing the right things on Friday nights.
Yes. Well, he's very vocal about being disciplined and doing the right thing and just being focused in the game.
Yeah, I was over there yesterday on campus. He shouted at me to tuck my shirt in. So,
And you did.
yeah,
And you did.
He's nobody to mess with.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, talk more about the big matchup between Murphy and McGill tonight here on UTV 44. Kickoff just about 15 minutes away, but right now we're at Metro PCS. We're out in West Mobile. Again, if you're a Murphy fan, we've got your locations on Airport Boulevard and also Spring Hill Boulevard. Stop in and see our friends here at Metro PCS. All right, Coach Hill from McGill-Toolen unable to join us tonight, so we get double duty here with the Murphy Panthers. We get ready. Muskegon Barnes, head coach of the Panthers, and Maurice Robinson here, the quarterback. Coach, so we like to talk about this. Terry Curtis, who has been someone who's been a big proponent of not just high school football, but what we've done for so long, showing off the greatness of kids on TV. And we've had a lot of football conversations, and he's been such a mentor to young coaches. And one thing he told Dan and I one time in a conversation is, he says he encourages a lot of young coaches to don't just jump at the first opportunity. Mm-hmm. Make sure it's the right opportunity for you, because a wrong step, especially the first one, sometimes it's hard to recover from that. Talk about how your transition has been at Murphy from an assistant coach and at St. Paul's and other places now to what it's like to be the head coach at a very visible school in the state and also here in the city of Mobile.
It's funny you asked me that question. I mean, because when the process opened up and when I sort of threw my name in the hat, it's always a dream to be a head coach. And like you said, you don't want to jump at the first thing, because sometimes that first thing may be the worst thing. God's always led me to where I needed to go. Because when I was in New Orleans, he led me to St. Paul's. When I was at St. Paul's for 6 years, he led me to meet with Coach Godfrey and Mike Godfrey at Team Focus, and I went on to work at I was Parks and Rec director of Moss Point, Mississippi. I was Parks and Rec director for Moss Point for 3 years, and I think all of those jobs helped me to this point right now in my life. Being an AD at a school such as Murphy, being a head coach at Murphy, it's been a thrill. Of course, it's one of the biggest schools in the state. So again, it has a lot of tradition, and it's one of those things that, I go home, my wife and I, she's a Viger alum, so we go home and we talk about, because that was one of the first things I, went home and talked to my wife, was like, look, babe, if you want me to do it, I'll do it, but if it's not something that we need to do right now, then I won't. She was like, yeah, you need to do it. So, of course, having her support, that was big for me. Having my family, behind me, that was what all I needed to go forward. And again, my trust is in God. He's going to lead me wherever I need to go. This was the job that he had in store for me, so here I am, and I'm going to do the best I can at it. I
was talking about being a head coach, and this was on the NFL side, but someone was talking today on the radio about when the Dolphins game got postponed because of the hurricane. They were talking about Adam Gase, the head coach. So when he walks into the meeting room, he's not just the X's and O's guys. He said, those families are dealing with emergencies. He's looking at players who have young kids and there's a hurricane bearing down on them. When you're the head coach and you have a meeting room, these young men, especially more than pro athletes, they look to you for a lot more than just X's and O's on Friday nights.
And that's, I take on that task because, again, these are my kids, as I call them. I have 87, 90 boys that I call them my boys. They know they have my number. They can call me anytime. If they have an issue, we're gonna sit down and talk about it. When I was in school, I had that relationship with my coaches. When I got to college, I had some fun relationships with my coaches. So again, I try to pass that on to my boys now. So if they have an issue, again, we're family. And that's how I look at it. We're one big family, and sometimes families argue and have disagreements, but guess what? They're still family at the end of the day. So that's what I want them to understand, and if they ever need me, I'm here.
Quarterback head coach dynamic is a special one, maybe the most special one in sports. And talk about what it's been like now with Coach Barnes being your head coach your senior year here at Murphy.
It's been fun. I've been trying new things with him, like I did in the Baker game with some gold cleats. I just surprised out on him, but after that, he told me no more with that. But
surprises may not always be the best thing that a coach wants, right?
But other than that, it's been fun and very, very, very eventful.
No, he talked about the gold cleats. Yeah, I had to X that out. You know, we're not doing gold. So, you know, again, he slid that by me. But you know,
One
Maurice
time,
and I, we had a conversation, and that's all we needed to have was just one conversation. So we were good.
Oh, we can't wait. Murphy McGill tonight here on UTV4. All right, you want to have some fun in the last segment?
By the way, he did play D-line at LSU. Don't be crossing my man.
For a coach who's also a little feisty on the sidelines for all players. Stick around the last segment, have some fun with us. All right, we're going to do that. We'll take a break. We're about 10 minutes from kickoff. We'll come back and Brent in, Brent out is our last segment. We got a load of topics to go over. Coach Barnes will play with us. Maurice will play with us. Dan will be with us here as well. Stick around as we get ready for Murphy McGill tonight here on UTV 44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Maurice Robinson, quarterback of the Murphy Panthers. Muskegon Barnes, the new head coach of the Murphy Panthers, here with us tonight. You mentioned about played at LSU, playing for Nick Saban. Just, you know, Nick Saban, I think if you're a rational college football fan, you may not be an Alabama fan, but I think most of us look at it. I think most people look and say,
he had to take a shot.
No, I think what most people say, the greatest college football coach that's ever been. Like I really do think that. Like just your recollection back playing with him back when he was at LSU and what it was like, and do you see him as a bit of a different coach now than he was back in the LSU days?
To answer your question, no. He was a feisty guy. The short man saying what we're going running.
This is a good story about the running.
The fourth quarter program, I remember actually going into our indoor facility, and we had trash cans set up everywhere. So, of course, we were stretching, and I think stretching is probably the hardest part of practice to me when you went to college. So we're stretching, we stretch for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And so we do wall runs, and we're doing wall runs, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really intense. Like, I mean, we're all tired. We're like, well, I mean, we're ready to go home. So,
but it ain't time.
It's nowhere near time. So we got an inside drill where the offensive line, defensive line are going inside. We're doing like bounding and you know, hops and things of that nature. So we're doing that for like 30 minutes while the smaller guys on the outside running 110s. So, of course, we do that for like 30 minutes, and, of course, it's all out. You know, it's crazy. We're out there, you know, people throwing up and, you know, wanting to leave and cry and all that good stuff. So, you know, we get finished, and we think we're going home because we've been out there for about an hour and a half already. He was like, no, we're going to switch. We were like, switch? Like, we're going to run another 30 minutes? Like, 40, yeah, he was serious. Like, we switched. We ran 110s on the outside, and the small guys did. Man, after that first day, it was like, if you quit, I quit. And none of us quit, to say the least. You know, we went on to win 9 games that first year. But I'll tell you what, it was that fourth quarter program was nothing to play with.
Oh man!
So he is definitely the same.
And he just, I think he's the greatest college football coach there's ever been. And well, I couldn't even stay with the Dolphins. Just a doctor misreading Drew Brees' shoulder. It's the only thing that kept him from being successful in the NFL. All right, Dan Brennan, Cats, Brent in, Brent out.
If I got to pick one, I'm out.
Out. Cats.
Out.
Yeah, you and I'm a cat guy. All right, Dan Brennan. Now I probably know because your schedule changed, you know, sometime last year. Game day nap.
Out.
Out.
In.
Out.
In. Oh, for sure. I'm like, yeah.
Game day.
Yeah, 3.
Now it used to be in.
Yeah. Well, you got up at 1:30 in the morning. So,
yeah, I was on the cover of Game Day Nap Illustrated. I was like the picture of yeah.
All right. So this has nothing to do with South Alabama this week because TV dictates their schedule. But college football Friday night games, in or out?
Out.
Yeah.
I kind of like to watch them when I come home since they're on.
Yeah.
But I would rather they not be.
Yeah.
On.
I'm out. I actually rather have Saturdays like they used to be, but I understand TV.
Friday night for
I
high
want it to be about these guys.
High school football. Dan Brennan, pumpkin spice anything.
I'm leaping out the window right now. Out.
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 I'm running across Airport Boulevard just to get away.
And we're not going to be able to get away from pumpkin spice anything for the next 2 months.
All right. the new season of Narcos on Netflix.
Well,
All right, you got to catch up on the first two then.
Okay, so
Yeah, I got to catch up so I don't have to be out.
I'm so in. Can't wait to do that. Sailboats.
Look, man, if you're trying to lead me to my physical demise, you know, I'm out with a sailboat.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be out with the sailboats, man.
Oh, yeah, because I kind of like the water. I've never been on a sailboat.
Yeah, okay, you know what? You can really love the water. Don't ever get on a sailboat. There's lots of great boats. Sailboats are not the way to...
He can get you on a good boat.
Yeah, speaking of water, drinking sparkling water.
I don't know where you got these questions, but Brennan is Bren out on that.
I go in with the sparkling water. I like the taste of the sparkling water.
I love it. I love it. I'm drinking sparkling water
I'm quite
all the
shocked by my friend from LSU, I gotta tell you.
The number 15 Georgia Bulldogs plus 4.5 at Notre Dame. Dogs and the points, Dan Brennan.
Brennan.
Ian, I'm with you there.
Okay.
All right. Number 13 Auburn plus 5 at number 3 Clemson. Aubie in the points, Dan Brennan.
Brennan.
Oh, Barnes in.
Barnes in. No, oh, going with Clemson there. All right. I'm in on that as well. All right. And a very relaxing. This I'll tell you. Pulling weeds from flower beds in your house.
Wow, you have just. You're gonna. We got. This is like a task that Kim doesn't understand why I don't have more enthusiasm for. Out!
Double out.
Out.
Not gonna do it.
It's like Zen for me. I can get on my hands and knees, pull them.
Let me shoot you my address.
Relax them on.
I got weeds like the Addams family.
All right, playing Texas Hold'em poker.
Bren
Out.
Out.
Yeah, you could read my face like you want me at the poker table. If you don't know who the sucker at the table is, they say it's you. That's me at everyone as well. All right, Coach, thank you so much for pulling double duty. Maurice, great to see you. Be safe out there tonight. Dan Brennan and I are going to head up to the booth. It's Murphy and McGill here on UTV 44, week number 3 of the high school football season. And some cooler temperatures coming our way. Kickoff comes up next after this. Murphy and McGill right here on UTV 44.
Ticket, please.